The echoing cabin. In the heart of a dense forest, where sunlight barely pierced through the thick canopy, stood an old cabin long abandoned. The locals spoke of it in hushed tones, claiming it was cursed. No one dared go near it, but the legend had always intrigued Samantha. One autumn evening, she decided to uncover the truth. With a flashlight, a camera, and a steely resolve, she ventured into the woods, ignoring the shivers creeping up her spine. The sun was setting, casting long, sinister shadows that twisted and turned with the gusts of wind. When she finally arrived at the cabin, the air was heavy with the smell of damp wood and decay. The door creaked open as she pushed it, and the darkness inside seemed to swallow her flashlight's beam. Dust floated in the air like ghostly whispers as she stepped in.
The cabin was small, with a single room filled with broken furniture and cobwebs. A large, ancient mirror hung crookedly on one wall, its surface tarnished. Samantha's curiosity was piqued. She set up her camera, wanting to capture any anomalies. As the night deepened, the wind howled outside, and the cabin's old timbers groaned. Samantha shivered but focused on her task. Suddenly, her flashlight flickered, and the room seemed to grow colder. She noticed the mirror. Its surface was no longer reflecting the room, but showed a dark, indistinct figure standing behind her. Startled, Samantha spun around, but the room was empty. She turned back to the mirror. The figure was now clearer, a shadowy outline of a person with hollow eyes staring directly at her. She felt a cold sweat break out on her forehead. The figure's mouth moved, but no sound came out. She tried to convince herself it was just a trick of the light, but the more she looked, the more the figure seemed to reach out of the mirror. Her heartbeat quickened as she saw its fingers graze the glass. Panicked, she grabbed her camera and flashlight, ready to leave. But as she turned, the door slammed shut with a deafening bang. The room plunged into darkness, and her flashlight went out. Her heart pounded in her chest as she fumbled for her phone to use as a light source. In the dim glow, Samantha saw the figure again, now looming directly in front of her. It moved with jerky, unnatural motions, its hollow eyes locked onto her. The air was thick with an oppressive presence. Desperate, Samantha rushed to the door, trying to open it, but it wouldn't budge. The figure's ghostly fingers were now inches from her, reaching out in a slow, deliberate manner. The air around her grew colder, and she could see her breath forming visible puffs. In a final act of courage, Samantha hurled herself at the door, and with a forceful push, it finally gave way. She stumbled out into the forest, not daring to look back. The cabin loomed behind her, its dark windows seeming to watch her escape. Once she reached her car and drove away, she checked her camera footage. To her horror, the only thing on the recording was the reflection in the mirror. An empty room. No shadow, no figure, just her own frightened face. The cabin was never found again. The forest seemed to swallow it whole, and the locals spoke of a new ghostly presence in the woods. They said the mirror had claimed another soul, and now Samantha's terrified reflection joined the restless spirits in the depths of the cabin. Hope that gave you a chill.